The Lord be with you. And with your spirit. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Luke. Jesus was driving out a demon that was mute. And when the demon had gone out, the mute man spoke, and the crowds were amazed. Some of them said, "By the power of Beelzebul, the prince of demons, he drives out demons." Others, to test him, asked him for a sign from heaven. But he knew their thoughts and said to them, "Every kingdom divided against itself will be laid waste, and house will fall against house. And if Satan is divided against himself, how will his kingdom stand? For you say that it is by Beelzebul that I drive out demons. If I then drive out demons by Beelzebul, by whom do your own people drive them out? Therefore they will be your judges. But if it is by the finger of God that I drive out demons, then the kingdom of God has come upon you. When a strong man fully armed guards his palace, his possessions are safe. But when one stronger than he attacks and overcomes him, he takes away the armor on which he relied and distributes the spoils. Whoever is not with me is against me, and whoever does not gather with me scatters." The Gospel of the Lord. Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ. It's always a peculiar, a little bit peculiar gospel passage. It's one of, say, the best attested gospel passages we know. Like this is one of those scenes that surely took place as it's described, because there is not one person in the early church, the authors of the Gospels, the compilers, the people spreading the good testimony of Jesus, who would ever repeat this accusation about him, or I should say, who would, if it weren't said, would make this accusation up out of whole cloth, that Jesus is somehow in cahoots with the devil. It's profound in the fact that this is an accusation that was leveled against Jesus, and then if we had any doubt that that Jesus has power, authority over demons, and that he was doing mighty works such as the one described here, making this mute man speak, we ought not have any doubt, precisely because of this testimony that goes right back to the moment itself, right to the moment this was happening. I think there are any number of powerful points in this passage that warrant our exploration. I want to give a couple. I think every kingdom divided against itself will be laid waste, and house will fall against house. And if Satan is divided against himself, how will his kingdom stand? The rest. Is it not true that Satan, in fact, is divided against Satan? Right, in the sense that it's not simply right. We can look, and towards the end, Jesus talks about whoever is not gathering with me scatters. Right, whoever is not for me is against me. God is the great gathering force. I mean, because God exists as perfect community in Himself, and that we're made in His image and likeness. We're then likewise made for the perfection of interpersonal exchange. We're made to live in community. We're made to be in true, depth-filled. I just say community. It's fine. So community is a gathering force, right? And this scattering force is the opposite of that, and we see that this is the devil and demons. Pushing the scattering agenda, as it were. But what scattering is not itself a unifying principle. It's an impossibility to bring together everyone to scatter in this sense. And so Satan's kingdom is divided against himself. I think another way to see that is that the ways of the Satan, the ways of the accuser, the ways of the devil, the scatterer, always, always divide people and always lead to death. They're ways of life that are ultimately doomed to fail. And we could see we could say, well, these also are the ways of the world, right? So, what are we living for? Again, what are we dying for? What are we living for? Are we living for money, power, pleasure, right? Like when we get our first 2 minutes free today to let our minds wander, where do they go? Do they go to God and His way? Do they go to, Lord, show me how it is I'm to bring your love to life today? Or do they go to something else? I wonder how my portfolio is doing today. Now there are some legitimate questions there. So I'm not really pressing on you that hard. But I think we ought to become sensitive, especially in the season of Lent, where we're taking on these penitential practices, to the ways that we go astray. Because committing ourselves to prayer, fasting, and almsgiving, we see that our natural inclination is to live for ourselves, to satisfy, all of our senses, all of our hungers and appetites, and to keep what it is we have, and not think of the people around us, right? So, by committing to those practices, we become more sensitive to the ways that we go astray. But all those ways are, if we follow them all the way to the end, those are the ways of the devil. Those are dead-end streets. Those are just ways that lead to death. And so the reality is that, the kingdom of Satan is in fact divided. It's divided against itself. Why is that? Because the kingdom of the Satan is every man for himself. So you're only concerned about yourself. But then you're dependent on yourself, and you try to save yourself in any number of ways, through those vain pursuits mainly. And that makes everybody around you, a quick enemy. Because there's only perhaps so many spoils to divide up, right? So there's everything's a zero-sum game. So if that guy gets that thing, then I can't get it. If he has that enjoyment, I can't have it, and I'm not having it to the same extent, right? So all kinds of things: pride, envy, jealousy, the rest. This is all like a group of ways that we experience our flirting with or commitment to the devil's ways, which is another reason why we have to be focused on rooting out pride, envy, jealousy, whatever, even comparison, right? What does it have to do with anything, right? So this is what we have in front of us. And again, where will we be? Do we want to be in God's great gathering force? Or are we content to live lives the way the world imagines them to be, where we're only going to be scatterers because we're in it for ourselves? Right? This is the big question that confronts us, and of course Jesus is here inviting us to be part of His great gathering force, and He's equipping us to do it. We have to look at Him and see what He's doing. We have to look at Him and see what Jesus is doing and see what the invitation of faith is. I had someone recently come to me and say, "Do you know, Father, as it relates to the faith, I'm just lost. I'm just lost." Young person. I say, yeah, I understand that, because if you try to look around you and see what the faith means, I don't know how you'd have any idea what it's all about. Even if you were to look around you and see the people who are call themselves Catholic, I don't know what you'd be able to pull out of that to say, yeah, faith makes sense, and it's a part of my life, and I'm in it to win it, or I'm committed, I'm doing it. No, he's like, I'm lost. I don't know what it's about. I don't know. Yeah. So look to Jesus. At the end of the day, our faith is the response to the invitation that Jesus issues here. Will we join him on his way, or will we continue to be spun about by the world, divided against ourselves and only leading to death and destruction? Will we join him on his way? But his way is the way of forgiving, self-giving love. And that's all it is. So either join him on that way, or none of it makes sense. And we're just in the world and trying to use that to justify what we want to do, which is the charge that Jesus levels again and again against the scribes and the Pharisees. But the invitation is there for us today. We can join Jesus on his way, and it is the way of self-gift. It's the way of being centered on God, being other-centered, and giving ourselves away in his service, forgiving, showing mercy, loving the person in front of us, because he's done it. He's pioneered the way, and he makes it possible for us.